Okay, so hi everyone, and welcome to the intro video for Math 126, which is Applied Statistics for the fall 2020 semester. My name is Mike Deal, and I will be your professor and mostly voice, I guess, quite literally, through our course this semester. So this video is just to kind of get you oriented and set up with the course and how it'll be run and where to sign up for the book and how you're going to do homework, and all that good stuff. Um, so please watch it and come back if there's maybe some questions as the semester goes on. There might be some other things that you're not thinking of that right at the beginning of the semester, but as we go through, you might come back here for. So I'm going to mainly go through three things. One, our Canvas page, which you see in front of you here on the screen, which I'll refer to back and forth a little bit. I'll show you the interface or the service, I guess, that we use for our textbook, which is an ebook that's bundled with an online homework system, which is where you'll go to do all the homework for the course. And I'll start by going over the syllabus for the course. So if you're following along here on Canvas, you can click on right here for the course syllabus. So if you want to open that up, or just watch the screen since it's right here. I'm just going to run through this reasonably quickly, and like I said, I'll point out some things from here on Canvas when we get back there, and again when we talk about the homework system. So here we are. So this is our course, Applied Stats. This is a fully online asynchronous course, which now that we're all kind of used to Zoom classes or remote classes and all the different ways that we call these things, this is a online class. So meaning that as opposed to what some of you may have experienced this year or maybe in the past, a remote class, which is more of it's a regular class that happens to just meet remotely. That's not what this class is. This is a fully online, and sometimes use the word asynchronous course, meaning that there is nothing that we're going to be doing at any specific time or at any specific meeting, so we're not going to be having class together. Instead, as asynchronous indicates, you all are going to be watching lectures on your own time and completing assignments. Of course, there are due dates for all of those things, but you're going to be completing the work for this course basically whenever you feel like it, as long as it's by due dates. And so we don't have any class meetings. There is no specific time that you have to actually do anything. So this gives you, in many ways, the most flexibility of any class format I think that we have. So anyway, so some of you are probably familiar from having taken online asynchronous course before. If this is your first experience with it, I think you'll hopefully like it or enjoy the format. So the dates for the course, we officially start on October 26th and we officially finish on December 18th. You can begin the course now, so you don't have to wait until October 26th, and you don't have to wait until December 18th to finish the course. You can work as far ahead in this course as you want, so you can finish the entire course in a week or two if you really want to. It's totally up to you. So, but these are the official dates that Endicott has provided for our course to sort of live in. This is me here. So I'm a math professor in the math and computer science department in the sort of day school, I guess. This is my 14th year at Endicott. I teach a lot of classes for obviously math majors and computer science majors and engineering majors during the day. This semester I happen to be on sabbatical from the sort of regular campus. So I'm actually, this is the only class that I'm actually teaching right now. So normally I would be on campus, well, in a normal semester, I'd be on campus with regular office hours and all of that kind of stuff. But obviously, nothing is normal this semester. So um, if you do need me, though, rather than visiting me, since I'm not actually on campus, and don't call me either because I'm not on campus to answer my office phone, but do feel free to send me an email if you have questions or need something. Just please feel free to send me an email. For office hours, I don't anticipate having official office hour times, as in Tuesdays at 2 o'clock or something like that. Instead, what I find works best for this is that if you do have questions and do want to see me, obviously we're going to be doing it via Zoom. Just send me an email and we can set something up. I kind of find that in a lot of ways, even just email me. If you have a question, you can sort of email me. The question is usually what I request, and then oftentimes I'm able to answer it in an email, and we don't have to actually meet. But if you've got a bunch of questions or something like that, that might be easier to have a one-on-one or face-to-face or screen-to-screen, I guess, as the case would be. Just send me an email and we can set something up. So the course is, I'll just summarize these 3 sentences or these 3 lines here by saying it's an intro to statistics course. So if you've known people or known friends who maybe have taken an intro to stats course at other schools, this course is probably pretty similar. It certainly topically includes most of the same kinds of things. I will say that some of you maybe are day school students at Endicott. Others are perhaps Van Loan students at Endicott. And maybe even some of you are not Endicott students at all. And some of you are freshmen all the way to seniors. So I'll just give a little shout out, I guess, that the course is just an intro to stats. So of course, there's far more to statistics than what we cover in these 8 weeks. But it is a nice foundational course for other courses that some of you might take, depending on your major. So some of you might be doing a research methods type course. In the day school, it's usually junior year, where you're sort of getting ready for thesis. That uses, especially if you're in social sciences, that you might be doing a statistical workup for your thesis. If you're a business major, this is the required math course for you, mostly because the ideas of working with statistics are certainly important in business, and I think some of these topics get touched on again, mostly in thesis or on other upper level courses. So there's certainly, hopefully, some things that you'll be able to take away. One thing for sure is that you'll be more comfortable using Excel, Microsoft Excel, which is the software that we'll use in the course. So if you have little experience or no experience with that, that's fine. You'll at least have some decent working knowledge of Excel by the end of the course. And like I said, I think for everybody in the course, no matter where you are in your studies, statistics, it's hard to argue, are not everywhere. And so we're always hearing blurbs, right, or 27% of whatever say this. And so these kinds of ideas are certainly all around us, just as citizens of the world. So hopefully you'll have a little bit better understanding of some of these things by the end of the semester. So there's a topical outline here, and some learning outcomes. I'll allow you to read those if you are interested. There is a textbook for the course, but like I mentioned earlier, it's an ebook, and it's bundled with an online homework system, which is known as My Stat Lab. That's what the online homework system is known as. So that's probably what you'll be kind of calling it when you say when you think about this whole thing. But it's all bundled together, and I'll show you My Stat Lab later in this video to show you how that all works. But that's where you'll go to access the ebook, which we aren't going to use a whole heck of a lot. I'll be honest. The first assignment and the first homework, it does involve you reading the ebook. It's not very long, so don't worry. And it's also, I think, pretty easy. But beyond that, the ebook is going to be mostly just there for backup, or if you want to look something up, maybe find some extra examples in there. But for the rest of the course, I have lecture videos that I've recorded that you can watch, and that's really all you need in order to understand the material beyond this first assignment, where you actually will use the ebook. So for the most part, you're not going to probably access the ebook all that often, but that's bundled in there. But you will go to this My Stat Lab for every single homework assignment for the whole semester. So other things you should have, Microsoft Excel, as I mentioned, is the software that we'll use for the course. Most of you probably have Microsoft Excel installed on a laptop or a computer that you're using. The only version, I guess, or type of Microsoft Excel that is potentially problematic is if you don't have a mouse or keyboard. So, for example, on an iPad is not great. So you'll have some issues. So you really do need it on some sort of computer. It doesn't matter what computer you have. It could be a laptop or a desktop computer. It can be a Windows computer, a Mac computer, whatever you've got is fine. And any version of Excel that you might have, even if it's 10 years old, is fine, all the way up to whatever the current version of Excel is. They're all fine. They all have the stuff that we need, and they might look a little different, but the commands we're going to use are pretty uniform. So hopefully you have Excel. If you don't have Excel currently installed on whatever computer you're probably watching this video on, there is you can get a downloaded version for with your student email address for free. So I'll show you on Canvas. I think I put a link up there. So you should be able to download it if you don't already have it. But again, I think most of you do, and you've probably maybe used it in other classes. So Excel is good. You probably do, or I would say you absolutely do want to have some sort of just notebook and or paper, even though it's an online class. It is still a math class, and last time I checked, unless you're, Captain Awesome, you're probably not going to be able to do math, just in your head. You probably do need paper to be able to, scribble some problem down, and maybe, if there's 5 steps in the problem, you probably aren't going to be able to just, again, remember all 5 steps. You want some paper for that. And I think the other place where, the other thing I recommend you do is that, with the lecture videos, which are going to sound just like what you're listening to right now. It's me voicing over slides for the most part. My best advice to you for learning the material is to take notes. I know it's very tempting in an online class where, the videos are there and you can look back at the videos later. It's kind of tempting just to listen, which is good. I mean, it's good to listen to the lectures and good to listen to the videos, but it's kind of tempting to not actually be doing anything with your hands and just to sort of, listen and watch. But I really do think that it's helpful if you do take notes as you would in a regular class. Now you might say, well, I can just look these up later. And I do provide the slides from the lectures. But, you might you could print them out if you wanted. I know some students like to do that. They like to print out the slides and then take notes on top of them. I think I go probably pretty slowly in the videos, so you can probably even just take traditional notes from the slides. You don't have to write down everything that's on there, but you might want to just sort of put things in your own words, right? This is the magic of learning, I think, is that it's nice to say, well, I watched the video, but I didn't get anything out of it. Well, that's not great, right? You kind of need to be able to process and understand, this is how I do these problems that I'm going to be having to do. And for the most part, if you can, I think it's helpful if you write stuff down and sort of, again, process it a little bit better that way. So anyways, my advice is have some sort of a notebook so you can take notes, and then you'll be doing homework problems from each of the units. I would do the homework problems there. You're going to ultimately enter your answers into this online homework system, but I say it's usually most helpful to just do the homework problems on paper and then just transfer your final answer, which for most of the problems is going to be some number. And that way you have a written record of the work you did for the problem. Because, if you do all of it and then type your answer in and say, cool, I got the points for that problem, but have no written account of how you got your answer, you might later on be like, oh, gee, it would have been actually nice if I wrote that down so I can look back at it in case you forget how to do a problem like that in the future. So anyway, okay. So write stuff down, I guess, moral of story. And you may want a simple calculator, just, in the event that you need to do a percentage or something like that. It's kind of clunky to bust open Excel just to do basic arithmetic. The calculator on your cell phone is probably pretty good for just doing some simple computations. So anyway, that's the kind of stuff that you want to round up, I guess, in the next week or so to be ready to go. The lecture videos, I'll show you these in Canvas. These are videos, like I said, of me doing essentially this. While, like I said before, there is a textbook, you really don't need that. There are also videos embedded, I guess, in the ebook. You don't need those either. Really, it's just the videos that are on Canvas. That's where I'm explaining, hopefully in a better fashion than what's in the textbook. All of the things you need to do. I do example problems. I show you how to do this stuff in Excel, all that. So you'll see those with each of the units in Canvas. Okay, so that's pretty much the first thing you want to do for each unit is watch these lecture videos, take notes. When you finish all of them, go and try to do the homework problems, right? And then go back and forth between probably your notes and the homework to figure out how to do them. Of course, your grade is important, and it's a very simple formula, I guess, here. 3/4 of your grade are going to come from the 2 exams. We'll have a midterm exam and a final exam. The final exam is not cumulative, although for the most part the course is kind of cumulative. So you've all taken math courses before. Usually the stuff you're doing at the end of the course is based on the stuff you did at the beginning of the course, and this course is really no different. So whatever, right? If you want to think about it as being a cumulative final, fine. But it's focused on the second half anyway of the semester. So we'll do 2 exams, and then the remaining weight is from your homework, and there are 6 homework assignments, and that's it, right? So there's 8 scores that go into your grade, and this is the breakdown of the 2. Homework, maybe I'll let you read through this in case you have questions. I'll show you about the details in here when we do the demo. Exams will be administered through Canvas. So maybe some of you have already taken a course that's done a Canvas quiz, either as a quiz or exam or assignment or whatever. In which case, great, you're sort of already familiar with the format of a Canvas quiz. But if you've never done one before or never taken sort of an online test before, it's pretty straightforward. I'll show you these in Canvas as well, but the exams will be in Canvas. So the homework is in this My Stat Lab that I'm going to show you, but the exams, the midterm and the final, are in Canvas. Okay. They are timed exams, so when you click on it to say I'm ready to begin, there is a timer, so you don't have infinity time to do these exams, and they do have due dates, right? So, but you can take them at any point prior to the due date, right? So I don't know when the midterm is due, but you could take the midterm 2 weeks before it's due, and that's totally fine, right? So you don't have to wait for due dates for homework or for exams. You can take them whenever you want. But exams are timed. Homework is not timed. So homework, you just have to have it completed by the due dates. And this is sort of my word of caution here, I guess. This is, if you're used to this format, again, some of you are maybe used to the 8-week format, or 7 weeks, depending on how exactly you count them. If you're kind of more used to the 15-week format, just sort of be aware of the fact that this is double, right? This is twice as much work as you would normally expect in a sort of traditional course. And it does sort of, it can get away from you a little bit, and the fact that you're kind of expected to do on average about 15 hours a week for just this class can sometimes get to you. Now there's going to be weeks where you're probably where you're short of that 15 hours, maybe 5 or 6 or 7. And there might be some weeks where you're exceeding that 15. Just sort of depends on how easily the material comes to you. I think people who struggle with the course maybe are for sure spending 15, 20 hours to complete a homework assignment. It does happen, probably not for all the homework assignments, but there's a few units in particular that can be tough. So I just say this up front to say you do need to be prepared to do, think about a regular class that you've taken and a quote unquote bad week that you have with that class. That might be, you might have some of those here, right? Where you're really having to dedicate an awful lot of time. On the other hand, if the material comes naturally and easily to you, you shouldn't have any real problems, and you may not even really feel it being all that different from a regular regular course. So, and the only other thing I'll mention, just because of the timing of this course, is that obviously the dates of this course straddle holidays. Not that Halloween is probably the most important holiday, but Thanksgiving is sort of roughly in the middle. It's a little bit after. It's after the midterm. When I'll point that out maybe when we go to the due dates. But just sort of be aware that you have to kind of budget yourself. I did my best to schedule around Thanksgiving as much as I could, but will you be working on this course over Thanksgiving? Maybe. You're either going to have to work a little bit ahead so that you can take that time off, or really, really scramble to finish it after. So just sort of be aware that since this is a fully asynchronous course, there is no, there really aren't holidays that are kind of observed here. It's just sort of, here are the due dates. You make it work in your life, for whatever you've got. So just sort of be aware of that with holidays, we wrap up, I think, certainly before Christmas and before the regular semester ends. So hopefully that end won't be an issue. So anyway, think about it. You can certainly you can drop from this course. I think through maybe the end of the first week, which I guess would be the end of October. So if you do have second thoughts, chat with your advisor. If you kind of are like, ooh, this is already a rough semester, I'm not sure adding an accelerated course on top of this that's fully online is a great idea. You can always take this a different semester. This is offered just about every single semester, and in a variety of formats. It's offered in person, it's offered at night. It's so there's lots of options if this doesn't quite sound like you. So, and if you do get accommodations for testing, it's very easy to do. Just as usual, have the student support office, or I forget what it's called nowadays, but have them, the Center for Teaching and Learning, it's right there. Just have them send me an email with your accommodation, and I'm happy to make that happen. So that's the end of the syllabus. I'll just do a quick Canvas thingy here, and then I'll go over to my stat lab, and then we'll wrap this baby up. So here's our Canvas page. I think yours probably looks something like this. You're in here right now watching the intro video. Here's the syllabus. The third thing that you see here on Canvas, these are the registration instructions for signing up for my stat lab. So if you click on this, it's just a PDF. It'll open up, and it gives you very easy to follow step-by-step directions for how to sign up. So do this, once you're sure you're taking the class or staying in the class. Click on here, and you should be able to sign up, and you have sort of instant access, so you don't need to worry about doing this way in advance. Although maybe just make sure that it goes through. Who knows? Technology is sometimes a little quirky. So, but click here for that. And then what do you see for the most part in the rest of each unit is in the first week it's a little different because you are going to do some reading. So maybe I'll just click on that real quick here. So chapter 1 reading assignment. So for this is the only week, or this is the only unit where you are going to actually read from the book. I am having you read the first 3 sections of the ebook, which I'll show you how to get to that in a minute. You're going to read those and then do the homework assignment. Okay, so but for the other weeks, go back here. For the other weeks, you see video lectures and slides, right? Video lectures, slides, and so on and so forth. Right? Video lectures, slides. So for all the other weeks, obviously video lectures, when you click on these, there'll be a series of videos for you to watch. Again, sometimes it's 2 videos, 3, maybe it's sometimes 4 or 5 videos. Some weeks it's a couple hours worth in total. Other units it's 5 or 6 hours, or maybe I don't think there's more than that. But so there's some time here, right? So watch these. They're organized by section in the book. So they're not supposed to necessarily be this is 1 class period or 2 class periods. But anyway, so click here for the videos. Under each of the video links, right, there's a link for slides. These are just the slides, the PowerPoint slides that I'm voicing over and writing on in these videos. So if you want to have those slides, some people like them, you can click here. There's nothing new here. You don't have to click on this, but if you want the slides, you can click right here. And then the third thing you see in each week or in each unit is a link for homework. Now, these are all, there's nothing really here. So if I click on this, it's not actually homework. It's just saying, hey, you have a homework assignment to do in MyStatLab. Now, the due dates that as you probably know from Canvas, the due dates appear here or somewhere on your screen for each one. Those are valid, like those are the real due dates and everything like that. There's no actual homework assignment here. This is just saying, hey, go over to MyStatLab and complete the homework assignment for chapter 2 or whatever chapter we're in. So these I just put in Canvas because I'm going to use Canvas is where all of your grades will be housed. And so it enables me to enter a score for you for homework 1 and homework 2 and stuff like that. Okay? But you're not actually completing any homework here in Canvas, and you're not submitting your homework in Canvas. This is just a placeholder so that I can enter a grade for you. Okay? Now the only thing that's different about, so we have, so I should say, right? So we have 3 units, 1, 2, 3, to begin the course, and then our midterm, which of course is just based on these first 3 units. And then we have units 4, 5, and 6, and then a final exam. And like I said, the final exam is stresses the stuff from the second half, even though there are some things from earlier in there. Okay, exams for each of the midterm and the final, you have the same 2 things here. It says something about details and instructions. That's information about the exam. And then the little rocket ship is the actual exam. So when you click on these, on either the final or the midterm, the little rocket is going to take you to a page that then, where you can say, okay, I'm ready to begin the exam. But for sure, as you are getting yourselves ready for each exam, you for sure want to click on the details and instructions thing, because among other things, there are practice problems here that you can try with solutions. So you'd be crazy not to do practice problems to make sure that you get it. And then there's just some advice here, a lot of words, I guess. But, just to give you some advice about taking an exam online and, all that studying and all that good stuff. So, so check that out as the time comes. And like I said, just one last time, all the due dates that are here for both the homework assignments and the exams are correct, right? So these are all, so you can see the midterm is due on November 15th. So that just means you can take it anytime before November 15th. You could take it on November 1st, on November 2nd. Doesn't matter, okay? Just as long as you have it in by the due date. And I do 11 p.m. Eastern time for all of the days, right? So that's just an easy time to hopefully remember. So if you're in this time zone, it's just 11. All of these dates are 11 p.m. on those dates. All right. So hopefully you're not starting something at 8 p.m. or something like that, and you're hopefully starting it well in advance. But technically, you can have essentially until the end of the day on those due dates. Okay, I think that's all for to say about Canvas. So let me do the one last thing. So I mentioned here, I'll just say it one more time before I leave. Here's the link. If you click on this, you get a PDF to sign up for what's known as MyStatLab. So if you click that and register and you follow the usual prompts to MyStatLab, you eventually get, let me go back. You eventually get to a website that looks like this and a homepage that looks something like this. Yours looks a little different than mine, since your page looks like the student view as opposed to this, but it should look something like this at least when you log into MyStatLab, as this is known. So when you sign up for this, this is the ebook and the homework system bundled together. It's about $100. It might be a little more than 100 at this point. But you're getting both, right? You're getting the ebook and the homework. We're not really using the ebook, so you might say, gee, why is he making me buy the ebook if we're mostly just using the homework system? And the answer is because the homework system is like $100 and adding the ebook is like $2 extra. So, so it's just kind of easier to get it bundled. And yeah, the thing that you actually need, of course, is the thing that's almost the entire price of it. So anyway, so when you sign up, you'll get them both bundled together. So what do you need to look at here? There's a whole lot of stuff here, right? There's a lot of things here, and even though yours maybe looks a little different, you don't need most of this. Now, I get, what some schools do is that when they get an ebook and an e-homework system like this, is that they use this as sort of like their canvas, right? So they'll do grade books here. They'll do the whole, what are your quizzes and we're not using much. We're not using most of these features. So the only things you ever really need to click on when you come in here are two places. One, homework. That's where the homework assignments will be. So that's pretty self-explanatory. And the other thing is to get to the ebook. It's a little funny. I don't know why they don't just put textbook or ebook as an option over here, but I don't think they do. But if you click on this chapter contents, these are the chapters of the book. So if you click on this, I'll do this first. Your screen looks probably something like this, and here's the chapters of the book. So the only, like I mentioned earlier, the only chapter that I'm requiring you to read because there are no lecture videos for is the first chapter, and it's a very short chapter. I promise. Won't take you more than an hour to read the whole chapter. But if you click on a chapter, I'll click on chapter 1 here. You then get the sections. There are only 3 sections: 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. There's other stuff here. If you want to do them, you're welcome to do them, but it's not necessary. So if you click on a section, I'll click on section 1.1. Then here under multimedia e-text, that's where when you click on that link for that section, it'll pop open a sort of looks like a PDF, but it's a book, right? And so it kind of actually looks pretty much like a textbook that you might have a paper copy of. So click on that, and you should be able to get to the ebook for each section. So do that for section. So for the first week, the first assignment, the first homework assignment, you need to read the e-text for 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. Okay. Beyond that, I don't think you'll come back here to the book, or as they call it, chapter contents, very often. I will say that there are other things here that I'll just sort of acknowledge. There are videos. These are produced by the publisher of the book. I don't really recommend that you watch them, but I guess if you really want to, you can. There's all kinds of other stuff as you look on the left here. There's chapter quiz and review problems and chapter test. We're not using any of those things, so none of these are assigned. I mean, hey, if you want to click around and try to do some problems, great. You're welcome to, but you're not getting any credit for any of those, and none of that's required. All right. So let me go back to the main menu. So that's the textbook. Let me go back to the main menu. So that's again under chapter contents is how to get to the textbook. So that's one thing you'll click on. Another thing, though, that most of the time that you're going to come in here is that you're going to click on homework. So if I click on homework, it takes you to something that hopefully looks something like this on your screen. And here are these 6 homework assignments that I highlighted over in Canvas. The due dates are here on the left. These hopefully should match all of the due dates on Canvas. And when you click on an assignment, obviously as you complete them, I think grades appear here. You may have some sort of feature over here for grades as well in order to see them. Or when you click on an assignment, it shows you your grade for the assignment too. You can attempts. You can see these are blank. You can have as many attempts as you want at problems. I'll come back to that as a word of caution later on, but you don't need to worry about, is this my 3rd try? Am I gonna, No, you can do it as many times as you want and still get credit. So let me just click on an assignment. Now, of course, you're going to probably click on the first assignment because you're not a weird person. But I'm just going to click somewhere down here so that I can get a problem that has numbers in it. So, but anyway, you click on any of these assignments and it brings you to sort of a summary page for the assignment. Up at the top here, it's telling you when it's due, what your current score is. It reminds you here that you have unlimited attempts. There is a lateness penalty, so if you do submit problems after the due date, the penalty is 20% per day. So you do want to make sure you have all of your work done by whatever the due dates are for the assignments, because you do start to lose points pretty quickly if you're completing things late. So that's sort of the summary of of the assignment. But then to get to the problems, as you can see here, there are 13 problems in this homework assignment. You just click on the question and a little box pops up. I'll click on question 1. And a little box pops up where, once it loads, the problem is here. All right. Some of them are multiple choice. Usually, I think for a lot of the assignments, the early problems in the assignments are kind of conceptual, so they tend to be multiple choice, maybe even sort of true, false, or things like that. And then as you go through the assignment, they usually turn more so into numerical problems, which I'll be honest with you are probably the more important ones, but the early questions are there to kind of warm you up a little bit. Let me go to a numerical question instead of a multiple choice one here. I'll just show you a couple things. You can, arrow left and right if you want to scroll through. If you hit the middle here, the big arrow down, it sort of pulls up a mini version of the whole homework assignment. So if you want to jump ahead to question 7, for example, you can do that. Or you can, use these guys to go, next and previous. So let's look at this question. So this says some stuff, and then it says it's asking for an answer. This happens to be a probability question, so it's asking for an answer. Now, to enter, and this is how most of your problems will be, you have to enter a number, right? A numerical answer here. So if you click on the box where obviously it's hopefully asking for an answer, you get a little cursor there. And since your answers are numbers, you're just going to use the keyboard to type in whatever answer you think it is. If you've done mathy things with these online homework systems, you know that if you wanted to do fractions or square roots or all these other things, you could use these keys down here. I don't think we ever really need those things, though, because the answers to all the questions are just numbers. So I don't think you really have to worry about any of that business down there. But I'll type in an answer. I have no idea what the answer to this problem is, so I'll just make something up and type in an answer. Of course, this is where I say, you want to copy. If I was you and doing these homework problems, I would copy the problem down on paper, go work out whatever steps I need in order to get my answer. And once I finish all of that on paper, I come back here and I say, okay, I think my answer is 0.57. And then I want to check to see if my answer is right. So down here in the lower right corner, it'll say check answer. Now, I magically did not randomly guess the right answer. So it says that's wrong. And then you get some advice here, I guess, right? Now, if you've only half been listening to me for the whole video, I'm going to tell you a few things right now that are super, super important and are going to reduce a lot of misery in your life when it comes to doing the homework problems. The advice that you get here, whatever all that stuff says, sometimes it's not terrible advice, but a lot of times the advice that it gives you here is not really correct. It's not that it's wrong. It's just that it's not doing it the way that we did it in the lecture video. So the book that we're using, like any other stats book, is really just geared towards general, here's statistics and here's material and blah, blah, blah. But it's not specially tailored to doing computations in Excel or in SPSS or any of these statistical programs. So the advice that they give you here by default is for the you have no technology and you're going to try to answer this question by hand. So one thing that I always get emails about at some point during the semester is somebody who's, I'm struggling with homework problems and I'm following the advice that they give me in the little box, which is telling me to do crazy math stuff that sounds really hard and that we never went over. And my answer is always that it is. You're right. It's telling you to do this in a way harder way. But we did a problem just like this one in the lecture videos, and we used Excel. And Excel is a wonderful thing because it's going to do all kinds of crazy math computations for us, as long as we know what the right thing is to type in. And it's hiding all of this awful math stuff. Okay, so please, 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 please try not to think too much about it's giving me advice here. I need to follow that. I know that's kind of what it's there for. But since we've done things probably in a different way than the book is suggesting you do it, I'm just looking at this one right now. And the stuff that it's saying to do in this box right now, super not the thing that we would do, right? And makes the problem 20 times harder, right? So just go back to the notes. If you have issues with the homework problem, go back to the notes, and you should be able to find an example in the lecture videos that's similar, okay? So that's my big advice number one is don't get hung up on this, these tips that they give you. mostly I would say ignore them. But it is wrong, right? The answer is incorrect. Okay, so I hit OK, which then leaves me here, which is basically letting me do the problem again, or letting me enter a different answer. Now, of course, I don't want to just randomly enter a different answer. I want to look back through the lecture videos, look back through my notes. Maybe I just have a decimal place wrong, something like that. Try it again. I try it a second time, and this time I got 0.59, let's say. And I say, all right, this time I think it's right, so let me check it. Okay, and it's still wrong. And this is probably the same bad advice, so I'll just hit OK. So I say, all right, third try. So I go, whatever, I try something different altogether, and this time, I come up with 0.64. Now, you might notice that instead of saying check answer, or I think what it had before, this is saying final check, which is not really true. But for numerical problems, they'll let you do it 3 times. So let me hit it, right? So final check. And after 3 chances, it's going to just sort of give up on you a little bit. And it's going to say, no, that this is still not right. It'll remind you of your last answer, the third one. And then it will tell you the correct numerical answer. Now, of course, you might say, well, this is great. I can take this number and put it back in here. Well, no, you can't actually do that. Now, sometimes it's helpful to get this number, the answer, because you can look at what you typed in and look at what the real answer is, and maybe you made a bonehead mistake, like actually this was just dumb luck. But maybe this problem, I meant to type 0.064, which might have been close enough to the right answer. And sometimes just, seeing the answer, you're like, oh yeah, okay, it makes sense, makes more sense that way. So what do you do when you're in this situation? So you can, if you're kind of frustrated with the question and don't want to keep doing it, to hit next question and it'll move you on to the next one. Not a bad idea. But if you kind of, have a different idea, or maybe you come back a couple days later and you decide you want to try the problem all over again, you can either, from here, if you say similar question, it'll generate a brand new version of basically the same question. Now, the answer is not going to be 0.0655. It's going to be different. But it'll, basically have you trying the same steps to see if you can get the right answer this time. So you can either do it right now, or as you're finishing the question. But maybe you say, you know what, I'm frustrated with that. I'm going to go on to the next question. And you work on some other things. So when you finish working, just make sure you hit save. Even if you don't hit save, I think it asks you, do you want to save it? But just as a good habit, when you're finished working for the night or whatever, just hit save so that it'll save your progress. And it brings you back to this sort of summary screen, which is just, again, letting you know about your progress. So I only did that one question. It was number 7. And, of course, the big red X here means that I got it wrong, which we did. And I got no points for that. Some of the questions, if they have multiple parts, you might get some of the parts right and some of the parts wrong. So you might get partial credit for some of the problems if that's the case. But whatever, for any problem that you later on want to say, you know what, I think I actually know how to do number 7 now. If you can come back 2-3 days later, right? You don't have to do this all at one sitting. You can say, oh, you know what, now I think I got number 7. So if you come back to this screen, which you just get to by clicking on any of the assignments, just click on any question that you got wrong or that you want to redo. If you click on it, it will remind you of what you did last time, right? So this is still the wrong answer, this 0.0655. I think maybe this is only on mine, that it shows you your previous answer. But if you want to say, okay, you know what, I'm ready to redo this one, then you can still get another crack at it by hitting similar question down here in the lower right corner. And if I hit that, it generates a brand new, as you can probably tell, it's almost the same question. They basically just put different numbers in, right? So, and now this will let me try this one 3 times, right? So just like I did before, I can put an answer in, say check answer, try again, check answer, try again, check answer. And if I get it totally wrong, I can again say similar question and try it again. Okay, so oh, see, it's reminding me that I should save. Hit that, even though I still got the problem wrong. Right. So this is the second of 2 major important. Please listen, or please make sure you take note. It's great that you have infinity chances, and I design it that way because I want you to have time to revise and to go search and get help on problems that you need help with. The infinity chances are not there so that you can just sort of randomly try stuff until you get a right answer. On the exam, which is worth most of your grade in this class, you unfortunately don't have that luxury. You're only going to be able to try a question once. You're not going to know if it's right or wrong until after you submit the whole thing. So I just second word of big word of caution that again causes people sometimes trouble in this class is you get a little too comfortable or a little too used to having the I can just try random stuff until I get a right answer approach, which I think you probably know is not learning anything, which doesn't help you at all on exams. So I do always have a couple of students who get A's on all the homework assignments and fail the exams, which I'm pretty sure is always well, you didn't really do the homework, you just sort of engineered a way to get points for it, which isn't going to pass you in the class. So I just, again, word of caution, while it's nice to be able to have a bunch of chances, if you're finding yourself taking 7, 8, 9 chances to get most of the problems right, you probably need to really reconsider whether you're honestly approaching the questions or just sort of guess and checking. Third thing I'll say, this is in a more positive way. If you're finding that for the most part on the homework you're getting the right answers, but you're just off by like a decimal place or two, just do several more decimal places in your computations. My best advice to you is if you always do 4 or 5 decimal places, right? So you know what I mean? So, you have 0.689236, whatever, some crazy decimal number. If you at least save the first 4 or 5 of those decimal places and type those in, and as you're doing computations, always keep 4 or 5 decimal places. Even if the system asks you for 2 decimal places, like round to 2 decimal places, if you've done 4 or 5, that's fine, because your answer is going to be right. Your answer is actually going to be more accurate than whatever they're looking for, which is going to mark correct. Now, the other way is not so true. So if you're only doing 2 decimal places, you're going to do some rounding in there, and that's going to sometimes cause your answer to be a little bit off. Now, I personally, I'm going to be grading your exams, I look through them and I make sure that if that happened, I still give you the credit for it. But the system has a preset sensitivity that I can't change for the homework. And so it does give you a little bit of wiggle room. You don't have to be 100% accurate, but if the answer is supposed to be 0.65 and you type in 0.64, it may not count that, right? If the answer is supposed to be 0.233 and you type in 0.234, that it probably would take. But if you're kind of off by a little too much, it's going to mark it wrong. So if you're finding yourself doing problems over and over again because you're getting decimal things off, just use more decimal places. Use, like I said, 4 or 5 decimal places will always be plenty to get you through these. So that just means, again, whenever you're doing computations in Excel or on a calculator, always write down or always keep 4 or 5 decimal places, and you should be fine. Okay. And the last thing I'll say while I'm here on homework, and I think roughly the last thing I have to say, if you do have problems with homework, so as I just demonstrated there, if you're trying a problem and you're saying, I'm not getting this, the first thing you should do is go back to the videos. I know that it's kind of annoying to probably be like, I just watched 4 hours of me, talking about stats stuff. The last thing I want to do is go rewatch some of those. Second time through, you can maybe sort of scroll to the part where I go over a problem like this. I promise you there are example problems of almost everything that you see in the homework. A comment I get sometimes from students is, I don't think the homework matches what we did in the lectures. It does, but you do have to do a little bit of, you have to apply a little bit of thinking sometimes to get there. But you should be able to sort of see, oh yeah, this example that's on the slides in the videos looks rather similar to this problem in the homework. Now, the homework problems and the ones in the lectures, a lot of them are word problems. You've all taken many math classes in your lives, and word problems can sometimes be tricky because you have to kind of really think. So you will have that issue, right, where you're looking at a word problem. You're like, he's a big liar. We didn't do this word problem. No, we didn't do this word problem. You're right. But we did a word problem that was similar, and you have to sort of be able to match that up and say, oh, Instead of it being about ducks, this time it's about, ears of corn, or I don't know, so there's going to be differences. So yes, you do have to you have to do some thinking. But for the most part, I'd say, 97% of the time, a homework problem has an example in the videos that you should be able to mimic. Okay. So first thing to do if you're having trouble with homework problem, do that. Rewatch videos, go back through your notes, you should be able to find something. If that doesn't work, and you're still not able to do a problem, what I'll ask you to do, if you want some help from me, what I'll ask you to do is take a picture of what you've written down on paper to do the problem. And this is where, again, I think it's important that when you're doing homework problems, you should be doing them on paper. I mean, you're going to transfer your answer over at the end into the system, but sketch out what you're doing. I mean, it's not going to be a crazy amount of paper. It's going to be, a few lines probably. None of the problems are all that hard. But write down, here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm typing into Excel in order to get my answer. Here's what I think, stuff like that. Whatever scrap work you're doing or whatever your thought process is. Take a picture of that with your phone and then email that to me, with like hey, I'm working on number 17. I'm having trouble because I don't see why, blah, 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 blah. Here's a picture of what I tried. Can you give me some advice? For me, that's the best format because I can then see what you did. I can look through it. Sometimes it's just a silly math mistake. Sometimes it's you're using the wrong strategy, but I can see it much better. If you just tell me, I got 0.68 for number 17 and I don't know why it's wrong, I'm going to tell you I have no idea how you got 0.68. So I can't really give you any advice unless I see exactly how you got to your answer. So if you do want some help from me on problems, just do that for me, and that'll make your lives and my life a lot easier, and I can give you a lot better advice that way. All right. So if you find yourself having problems and do want some help from me, please feel free to do that. If you have a problem with like a bunch of problems, so like I don't get any of these things in the homework, I'm really gonna say you really do need to go back and rewatch the videos. This is an online class. It's not me teach you in Zoom the course material. I'm happy, like I said, I'm willing to meet with you in Zoom to go over some specifics, but sort of large, I don't get this entire chapter types of questions. I'm going to mostly send you back to the videos and say, well, maybe rewatch them and maybe watch them a little more carefully and things like that. So, all right, so let me just close that. So that's it for my stat lab. Oh, I probably shouldn't have closed that, but I'll just say this one last thing here. I will eventually, so back here on Canvas, I will transfer your homework grades over here to Canvas, but it's not an automatic. And maybe you've taken some classes before where sort of as soon as you finish a homework assignment in some online homework system, the grade automatically gets transferred over to Canvas. I don't do that for this course. So I manually, I mean, it's not that hard, but I manually transfer the grades over from my stat lab into Canvas. So when you finish a homework assignment in my stat lab, there is no submit button and there is no I'm done button. I can see whatever you've done in my stat lab. So don't freak out. Like, I don't know how to submit. I finished the assignment and it says I got 100, but I don't know how to submit that to you. No. The fact that it says you got 100 or a 90% or whatever you got, I can see that. And I will eventually go through and move that grade over here into Canvas. All right. So don't freak out. Don't send me an email. Some of you are still going to freak out and send me an email. But it's fine if the grade doesn't appear immediately over here in Canvas, as long as it says whatever your grade is in my stat lab, which it appears in a whole bunch of places. So I'm sure you'll find it. I can see that. And I can also see what answers you entered. So again, if you have a question about a problem, I can at least sort of see the version of your problem there as well. So I think that's about it for the course overview and everything. So you're ready to go now. So so sign up for my stat lab right here for the first week. So the first assignment is due October 29th. Which is a Thursday, I think, Thursday. You don't need to wait for October 29th. If it's October 20th or 21st or whatever today's date is when you're watching this video, you can jump right in and do it, right? I would say a good thing to do, some of you are good, I'm sure, good planners. There are 8 due dates for the course. Again, they're all listed here on Canvas. There's the 6 homework assignments and the 2 exams. So if you're filling those 8 dates into some sort of a planner or calendar thing that you might have, that's not a bad idea. They're not all due on the same day. I had to toggle a little bit. Sometimes I am able to get them all due like on Sunday nights. But since I was trying to avoid Thanksgiving as much as I possibly could, the first few things are due maybe, you have about 4 or 5 days between due dates. So for example, October 29th is the first homework, November 4th is the next one, November 10th is the next one, and then the midterm is November 15th, which is really only about 3 weeks into the semester. But the front of the course, the first half of the course, is much easier than the second half of the course, and it's also a little bit shorter. And so the midterm comes a little early. And I do that both because I was trying to dodge Thanksgiving, and also you need a lot more time to do the material in the second half. These are the units that are going to be 10 to 20 hours each. To get through Unit 4 and Unit 5 are both really, really long. And people generally, if you're going to have issues in the course, it's going to be with one of those 2 units. So on the one hand, it's good because hopefully you'll do well on the midterm and have some good confidence there. These are, unfortunately though, just the way the semester falls. These are the 2 units that fall before and after Thanksgiving. But I spread it out a little bit. I think giving you roughly 10 days or so to do each of these 2 longer units. So hopefully that'll be helpful. So there's a homework, and this is the last homework is due on, I think that's a Sunday, December 13th. And as soon as you finish the last homework assignment, you can begin to study for the exam. The final exam itself is due December 17th, which I think is a Thursday. It's the Thursday of exam week if you're an on-campus student here. So the grades in the course are due on the 18th, right? So I really can't have any wiggle on the final exam. But again, you can take this anytime. So as soon as you're finished with, this unit and you've studied and gotten yourself ready to go, you can come in here and take the final exam whenever you want. Okay, and some people do. Some people finish the whole course in a few weeks, which is great and fine if that's what you want to do. But just sort of be mindful of the due dates. And like I said, if you have issues, if you have travel or other things, life issues that are going to conflict with some of these due dates, just make sure you work ahead so that you avoid the due dates. Since the entire course is published and active right now, you can work ahead if you need to. I don't give extensions for any reason for anything. So please be mindful that if you have a last minute, my computer crashed and I can't finish the assignment, well, you shouldn't have waited to the last minute. So you can do an assignment late and get points off though. So there are no extensions, and certainly for the exams, there are absolutely no extensions because again, the course is active. You can take stuff whenever you need. So if you do run into an issue of having an extended illness, you can let me know about that, and I'm happy to see what I can do. But to be honest, since again, like I said, the whole course is active and published right now, you're pretty much out of luck with regards to that. So do keep in mind the due dates. I will check in, not too often. I'll check in periodically and send emails to your Endicott account, just with a, hey, happy Monday, good luck this week with the material, that kind of stuff. There's no class correspondence that you have to be doing. There's no message boards. There's no class discussions that you need to be posting in or anything like that. But like I said, I may send some emails every now and then just to kind of remind you of upcoming due dates and whatnots. But for the most part, you're going to hear my voice an awful lot over the next couple of months, but it's going to be my recorded voice on videos. So, but like I said, if you do run into issues or have any questions, please feel free to send me an email and I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. And best of luck to everybody with the course, and good luck getting started. And like I said, let me know if